If this works, Sasha, we're going to be live on YouTube even before people come into the Zoom room, just FYI.
Cool.
Hello, hello. What is up, guys? Welcome, welcome. Kirsten, welcome. We got your both in the chat. How is everyone doing? Hi, Mia. I see some familiar names. I see some new names. We are about to get started with our 2026 business planning session and talking about how we can use AI and other things in order to kick that off right. I see Brenda, Sarah, John, Pam, Paul, welcome. If you guys can drop where you are tuning in from into the chat, that would be awesome. And I love to see smiling faces. So I love having Mia on camera with me. If anyone else wants to join on camera, that would be awesome. We can start to get to know each other as people start to join the call. We've got a few minutes before we dive in. We've got Pam from NC and Kirsten as well. Do you guys know each other, or is that just a coincidence? And we've got Mia from Bali. Awesome. Mia, what time is it over there in Bali? Drop that in the chat for us. What time is it where you guys live? John, Sarah, Kirsten, welcome. 9 a.m. for Mia. Thanks for getting up early to hang out with us. We've got Prentice, AJ. Hi, Kirsten, welcome. Paul, Pam, what is up? Where are you guys tuning in from? And what time is it where you live? We are also live on YouTube. So for anybody who's watching us on YouTube, welcome. Glad to have you. Let's make sure we get folks into the Zoom room here. 8 p.m. Yep, it's 8 p.m. for me as well. I'm on the East Coast right now. Awesome. Jamie, welcome. Welcome, welcome. The first thing that we're going to do tonight is we're going to get all of you access to our 2026 AI game plan document. So if you are not already, you're going to need to be inside of our school community. So I'm going to put a link in the chat for you. It's lilyinvest.com/community. And this is our free school community. And at the top of the community, once you join, you're going to see this 2026 AI game plan session post. And inside of that post is where you'll get access to this planning document. So while we make sure everybody gets a chance to get into the Zoom room and you guys are able to get your cameras on and all that good stuff, make sure you go grab that document inside of the school community. It's what you'll need to follow along with everything that we're going to dive into today. And Sasha from my team, as more people keep joining the call, will make sure to post the link to that school community so you guys can find it. Once you've got that document, if you'll drop a 1 in the chat for me, that would be awesome. Welcome, James, Jamie. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming on camera. Okay, Reginald's got the document. Perfect. And what you'll find is that if you open up the document, you hit file, you'll be able to make a copy because you won't be able to edit this one. This is the template for everyone, but you just hit file, make a copy, and then you'll be good to go to fill in those blanks. Okay, Mia's got it. Be sure to drop a 1 once you've got that document. Even for our folks over on YouTube, it's www.lilyinvest.com/community. And that'll take you right to it. Awesome, awesome. Krisha, good to see you. Lakeitha, good to see you. Dr. Colette, thanks for joining. All right. We are about to dive in. I want to make sure that everyone who just joined has access to that document. It's what we're going to be using today to follow along. And let me go ahead and make sure I'm recording here. There we go. Now recording. Okay, cool. Pam's got it. Brenda's got it. Awesome. Awesome. Now, I know there are some familiar faces in the room, but for those of you who maybe this is our first time meeting, I will give a little bit more of my backstory as we go, but I want to make sure you know you're in the right place. We are talking about AI and how to use it to help you grow your business in 2026. So if that's something that you're interested in, you are in the right place, and I'm really happy to have you here. So diving in, I'm going to make a prediction / a promise for tonight, which is going to be that as I look into my crystal ball here, you're going to leave with a very clear 3-step plan on how you can use AI and start making massive progress in your business. And I've selected this date, March 31st, 2026, because that is 90 days, the end of Q1, so to speak, from the start of 2026. And so we oftentimes, what is the phrase? Overestimate what we can do in a week, but we underestimate what we can do in a year. And so I like 90-day kind of sprints as a way to take advantage of some of the motivation and inspiration that we all feel at this time of year, right? But not make the path too difficult for ourselves. And so this 90-day chunk is a really great place to start. And so tonight I want to give you a 3-step plan to think about how to use AI during that time. So if you want that prediction to come true, there's a couple of things that I need you to do so that you give yourself the best chance. The first is, like I said, inside of the school community, the very top post is this one right here that says 2026 AI game plan session. Go get the link to this game plan document so you can follow along. You can utilize this. Okay. The second is that we're going to walk through how you can customize that 3-step plan and talk about the specific AI systems that you might need. And then the third, for those of you who are here tonight and who are new, I'm going to talk to you about the Self-Funded Freedom Challenge, where we start building out those money systems together. Some of you familiar faces have already been on that challenge and have your game plan or will be receiving it very soon from myself. But for those of you who haven't, we'll give you a chance to tap in and get involved. Also, these AI masterclasses happen pretty much every Tuesday, and every week we like to give away a free AI workflow. So not only do we cover a different topic every Tuesday, so come back every Tuesday because we're going to talk about something different, but we also give away an AI money system that my team will build for you every single week. So keep coming back, keep hanging out. Those systems we usually charge around $2,000 to build, but one of you will win one for free tonight. And everyone who is here will also receive a bonus. So that said, you paid to be here. And I don't mean that I secretly found your credit card information and charged it, because I know that this call is free. But while you maybe didn't pay with your money, you're paying with your time, you're paying with your attention and your mental energy. And so I want to make sure that because you paid to be here, let's make it worth it. Right. So I encourage you, put away distractions, come on camera. We find that of everyone who I've ever gone on to work with and help find success in business, they usually have their camera on, right? It's people like Mia who I'm working with, and Dr. Colette and Lakeitha. It's something, I think, just about the dedication to the process that is just like, yeah, I'm going to be locked in on this. And so if you are able, if you're in a safe place, if you're dressed and all that good stuff and willing to come on camera, would love to see your smiling faces. And then the third thing is I'm going to ask you to have an open mind and consider that I may share some stuff that's a little bit countercultural. But if you want to get something you've never gotten, you might have to do something you've never done. And so I encourage you for this hour to at least consider that while what I have to share may be different from what you've heard elsewhere, it may be helpful to you. And you can make that decision after you hear it, is all I ask. Cool. Give me a 1 in the chat if that sounds okay. Make sure you guys are locked in. Okay, Kirsten's locked in with me. Mia's locked in. Okay, cool. I see a bunch of ones. Brenda, Jared, Jamie, Reginald, Lakeitha. Okay, cool. AJ, awesome. All right, I think I saw a couple more. Lorraine, perfect. Okay, so that said, why are we talking about AI? Why am I the one talking? Lorraine, what's up? I appreciate you coming on camera. Good to see you. So what's all of this about? In terms of how people innovate, the things that the human race has invented, it usually comes in waves. And so we can think about like the first wave is when we figured out water power and using iron, and then it went on to rail and electricity and aviation, the ability to fly, and all of these different things. And right now we are in the sixth wave of human innovation, which AI is a huge part of. And so I don't have to explain to you guys, all of the conversation and excitement around AI as something that can help power our businesses. It's just figuring out how exactly do we do it. And so that's what I want to talk about tonight. But like I said, before I do that, I want to introduce myself. So who am I? Why should you spend this hour with me? My name is Lily. And what I should tell you is that I run an AI-powered coaching business as well as a service business. And through that process, I make content, documenting it to help you guys, right? Help other coaches and service providers to grow what I call these freedom-focused businesses. And so I know many of you may have already seen me on YouTube, and that's kind of how you arrived here tonight. If we've already known each other, will you drop a 2 in the chat for me? If this is your first time meeting me and we're just getting to know each other now on this call, will you drop a 3 for me so I know? Okay, awesome. To those of you who've been here before, welcome back. Always good to see your face. Like I said, we do these master classes every single week on a different topic. And for those of you that are new, it's really great to meet you. I'm excited to kind of dive in and grow our community, which is growing really fast, and people are doing some awesome things. So that's me. For you, if you are someone who is a service provider, like maybe you're a financial planner, you do project management, that type of thing, this is going to apply to you. If you are a coach or a guide, I've worked with online trainers, or someone's an ADHD success coach, so helping people who struggle with ADHD, right? This will apply to you. Or if you're someone who's like a creative implementer, so you want to work with someone on a more ongoing basis to inject like some type of creative skill into their business, video editing, copywriting. Also recently started working with a gentleman who makes beats for artists. Pretty cool business. Okay, so you're in the right place. What I want to talk about tonight is that maybe the way you've been thinking about using AI and scaling your business is maybe not the best path for you if you haven't yet found success. Why do I say this? Because I think that the AI for business conversation has become very misleading. And I know that this is a very popular topic online right now. And it's because this is such a great opportunity. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and throw my name in the hat to say that I think it's going too far. And I'm going to show you guys some of the recent kind of like video headlines and all those things. I don't say this to call out individual creators. And this is why I'm not going to show like the names, but I do think that unfortunately, what is popular and what gets clicks isn't the same thing as what works, right? I'm going to say that again. Like what's popular, what you hear the loudest is not the same thing as what actually works. And so I think that people who are in my position are caught between, do I say the thing that is most popular, right, and get the most attention? Or do I say the thing that actually works and like that's actually going to help people, but maybe it doesn't get as many eyes on it? And I think that the second path is where I want to lie. So let me stop being around the bush here and show you what I'm talking about. So I just did a quick search for like AI business, and these are some of the most popular videos on the platform. Or got like laziest online business, right? Or how to do this ebook thing in a day and it's going to make $100,000. Or like I did this thing that required no talent and no money, and right. And again, I'm not saying that these individual creators are doing a bad job. In fact, after watching some of these videos, I actually have some good insights inside of them. But it's what's loud, it's the headlines that grab attention. You can see these videos doing really, really well. All of these numbers you see are about how much better these videos do than average, right? And so what we find is that what's loud and what's really popular often talks about easy, quick, lazy, right? Like no skill, no effort needed. And I get why like that's appealing. But at a certain point, you run into this wall where you may try some of those things and then it's like, but I'm not seeing the results. And then unfortunately, I think people give up. They leave business, right? So drop a one in the chat for me if you have run into that problem where it's like you see the popular thing, sounds good, try it out, doesn't work. Okay. Absolutely. I've been there, I see it too. And me and my team have talked about this and becoming even more intentional with how we title our videos, knowing that maybe they're not going to get as much, if I say, hey, this thing is kind of difficult, might take you a few hours a day, but that's not appealing, right? Like, people want the other stuff. But I know that when you try this, you just get stuck and then you stop and then you give up. And I don't actually want that. I want to help people actually break through and get to the place where you can be a business owner, earning a full-time living from your business. And I think it's okay to say that there's not a lazy path to that. Right. I think that's okay. I think that's, I can sleep at night with taking that position. So that said, as someone who at the start of 2025, I was making around $15,000 per month. And this month it's still December. This month in December, we crossed the $40,000 per month mark for the first time. And so I find that the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Building a business that can fund the life of your dreams is not easy. It's not lazy. It's not instant. I realize that is not the clickable thing and most popular thing to say. But I also don't think that it's like ridiculously difficult. I don't think it's like a 1% chance of success or complicated or impossible. I think it lies somewhere in the middle. There's a relatively simple process. And note I said simple, not easy. I think there's a difference there. It's relatively straightforward, but it does take work. And the best part that I found is that work is worth it. And if you're someone who wants to like lie in that middle ground and not the extreme of this is ridiculously easy or this is ridiculously difficult, then I'm probably a person for you. I would love to have you as part of the community because it's this simple, straightforward, repeatable work that is worth doing that I like to talk about and help people go through. Okay. So I got here to this path because I used to make the majority of my money through renovating rundown houses and turning them into rental properties. I started in real estate and I was documenting that journey through content. And so you can see some of the popular videos that I've posted around renovating this garage or doing a deal that got me a $63,000 at closing, almost bought an apartment complex that was 33 units and so on and so forth. And this was a good gig for me. But the problem was it was very time consuming work that required me to be physically present and able to work with my hands. In this picture here, I was buying another duplex, and I'm not wearing a mask for any other reason than there were about 60 cats living in this house before I bought it. And so you can imagine the stench and the hard work that it was to renovate this property. And so there was financial freedom, but I didn't have any time freedom or location freedom. And at first, that was okay. Because I was like, I'm good with some financial freedom, right? Like, I'm okay with that. I'm willing to work hard. But eventually, something happened. And it was that my brother ended up getting unexpectedly diagnosed with cancer. And he was going to have to move a few states away to a treatment center and stay there for a couple of months. And me and my parents and one of my other brothers went with him. And so I could no longer be physically present working on properties with all of my time in order to make money. And so I knew I needed financial freedom that also included time freedom and location freedom. And that's what I now call self-funded freedom. And it's the type of businesses that I like to help people build, because we think usually about using our time freedom and location freedom to travel, to go on vacation, to spend time, doing the fun things. But it was actually needing to have time to do the bad thing, right? To like go to the cancer treatment center, that made me realize the importance of having some of those levels of freedom that are different than just the money. Okay. So as we go through and think about how we're building out our business in 2026, it's not just about the money piece, it's also about the time freedom and location freedom to make it all worth it. Okay. Drop a 1 in the chat for me if that makes sense, or like if that connects with you in some way. It's like that time freedom and location freedom also important to you. Okay. Yeah, I had a feeling you guys are my type of people. Okay, cool. So the plan that I developed is kind of what took me from before 2025, making a good amount of money in real estate and then having to stop that and my business dropping to that 15K a month, and then being able to build back up to 40K a month while still having time and location freedom. And that's what I want to help you guys do tonight. So if you've joined the call recently and you don't already have the 2026 game plan document, be sure to head over to our free school community. Sasha from my team will drop a link in the chat, and you can click this right here in order to get the document for yourself. Okay. And we're going to fill that out so you guys can build out this type of plan for yourself. I promise you 3 steps. I'm going to go into 3 steps: 90-day number, business plan, and then AI money systems to accelerate it all. The reason I tell you exactly what we're going to do is because then after this call's over, you can say, yep, she did exactly what she said she was going to do. Because I have spent time and money and attention on calls like this, on programs like this from other business people, and they just talk in circles. They don't tell you anything that's like useful. And I very intentionally want to make sure you guys know that I respect your time and I want you to get a lot out of this call, no matter what. Okay, so these are the 3 things we're going to go through so that at the end of the call, you're like, yep, that's exactly what we did. All right. You notice that the AI part of this plan, though, comes last, not first. And that's intentional, because what makes AI valuable is what we do with it. Everyone has access to it, and that's a beautiful thing. But if it was as simple as just pressing a button or telling ChatGPT, build me $1 million business, everyone would have $1 million business, right? So we have to make sure that what we do with it is valuable. And that's why it's going to be the last step in this plan that we talk about. And hopefully you guys are okay with that. So before we choose the AI systems that you need, we want to start with where it is that you want to go. So if you look at section 1 of that 2026 game plan document, it's about your 90-day number. And we don't have time to dive too deep into the specifics of this, but I want you guys to drop in the chat, and then you'll put into your document how much money per month you would like to be making by Tuesday, March 31st, 2026. Now, as you think about this, let me give you a few extra pieces of info. Keep in mind that you'll likely only take home 30 to 50% of whatever number you choose. The rest is going to go to taxes and business expenses. So you might need to aim a little bit higher than you might think, because a $10,000 month is really about $3,000 to $5,000 into your personal bank account. A $20,000 month probably be around $6,000 to $10,000 to your personal bank account. Okay, I love some of the numbers you guys are putting in the chat. 17,000, 30,000, 50,000. Exactly. This is also another thing that's not popular to say, because when you say $10,000 a month, which you guys probably come across a lot, that feels pretty simple and achievable to most people. But again, it's on that easy side of the spectrum, because then you can't talk about taxes, because as soon as the taxes come into the picture, that $10,000 looks a lot less appealing. You can't talk about, if you're trying to convince people of easy, I mean, you can't talk about business expenses, because with $10,000, you don't really have room to hire a team or invest in mentorship or all of the things that are actually going to get you that time and location freedom. Okay, so I'm glad I like what you guys are thinking about. Okay. We don't have time to dive into the specific pricing tonight, but just remember that the number you choose will also help you design the price of your offer. Okay, so imagine you said, I wanted to make $15,000 a month. Well, if your average sale price of your offer is $500, then you are going to be required to make 30 sales every single month. And that's a lot. But if your average price around $2,500, well, then you're only required to make 6 sales. Okay. And like I said, tonight is not going to be specific into pricing and that type of thing. We'll do that in another session and in different programs, but you can start to get an idea of, okay, how do I need to be thinking about this? Whether you are just thinking about, okay, I'm looking to make my first sale, which I think is totally legitimate to say like, okay, I get to my first 5,000, my first 10,000. You got to go through that, right? But we can still have that end goal in mind of the type of business that I'm wanting to build. Okay, cool. This is good. This is good so far. This is helpful. Okay, awesome. So once we have that 90-day number, and if you haven't put in the chat, I really encourage you to. Even just writing it down can be like a hurdle to get past, right? It can be scary to write down that big number. So if you haven't put in the chat, I definitely encourage you to. Cool. Awesome. I love that, Reginald. That's very specific. I'd love to know maybe at the end of our call why so specific. Okay, so then from there, the second step is, let me go back here. I think I skipped one. Okay, yeah. It's time to think about the skill that you will sell. This is also not a popular thing because skill requires you to have a skill. It requires you to have value to offer to someone else. But that's what business is, right? Business is just packaging a skill to sell. And in order to be an ethical business person, that skill has to bring value to someone else. And there are a lot of skills and a lot of ways that you can bring value to someone, but I'm not going to say like no talent, no skills required, because that's the only place that value comes from. So you got to start thinking about what are the skills that you can package to sell to someone, because the way that a skill kind of becomes value to someone else is that you take the skill you have, you create a system to use that skill to get results for someone else. And those results are then what allow you to generate revenue. But we can't start with the revenue. We have to start with the skill. Okay. And so there are 3 types of skills that most people will sell, and they fall into these 3 categories. There's wealth, which is helping someone make or save money. And this is typically the easiest type of skill to sell. There's health, which is helping someone with their mind, body, and energy. And the interesting thing here is the worse someone's health situation is, the easier it is to help them, because as people's health gets bad, they are more open and looking for help, right? And then relationships. This is helping people with love, connection, leadership. This is typically be the hardest thing to sell because people value different relationships differently. But these are the big 3 categories that most skills fit into. So for myself, I fall very cleanly into the wealth category. Okay. And that's because I help coaches, consultants, service providers to grow businesses that give them financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom. Right. So for you, drop in the chat, what category does your skill fit into? Okay. Yeah, Mia, yours definitely fits into combining wealth and health. I've worked with Mia, Dr. Colette. I've worked with Dr. Colette, teaching skills that help people earn wealth. That's a really good one. Okay, wealth, wealth, wealth. Wealth is oftentimes very common. Okay. And it's not that you have to fit into one of these categories, but these are just the typical three that are going to be most businesses are going to fit into. Okay, cool. We've got some good ones. Okay, so your skill, whatever it is, fits into a particular type of category. Then, once you know the skill and what category it fits into, the first task that you have in 2026 is to create a problem and solution pair. So let me give you an example of some of these. Here's a wealth one. Let's say that the problem is that real estate investors, when their properties sit empty or sit vacant, are losing $10,000 plus per year because they're not getting when the property's empty, right? That's the problem. And the solution is you create a 30-day tenant placement system. Okay, so you can imagine, take a step back, think about, okay, I have this skill of real estate and I've chosen this problem to pair with this solution. Let's say this one here is a health example. Remote workers are struggling with chronic back and neck pain from their desk setup. And so the solution is a posture correction program and workspace optimization. This is actually something I paid for from a different business during COVID. I started working from home and working from my laptop way too many hours a day. And they helped me to create like an ergonomically set up desk setup, right? So that I could improve my health in that situation. Here's one about relationships, another example for you. I have couples who are on the verge of divorce, but they don't want to give up yet. So the solution that you have is a 12 repair or relationship repair intensive. Okay. And so from your skill, it is then your problem and solution pair. And what you might find is that you're not super confident yet in your problem and solution pair. But the first one that you choose to focus on doesn't have to be your last, right? I would say that your problem and solution pair needs to be your focus of Q1 in 2026. You know what skills you already have, what problem and solution pair can you confidently present to someone who needs it. That's where most people fall short is they say, okay, I've identified the problem or I can do this thing, but they don't have a problem and solution pair that someone can look at and say, like Mia just said, I need that, right? My back hurts. I'm staring down at my desk. I need that. That's what makes a business different. And so I've tried many, many things that didn't work. I tried to start a college laundry service back when I was in college, because on the last day of freshman year, one of the guys who lived on my floor asked me where the laundry room was. And I was like, you haven't done laundry all year? What the heck? And so that summer, me and my friend thought we would start a college laundry service, and it failed. Why? Because college kids don't want to pay for their laundry to be done, and we didn't want to wash their dirty laundry. But it's about what you learn through the process of creating a problem and solution pair. It's about the skills that you collect that are going to allow you to become a powerful business owner and pivot, right? The first one you choose doesn't have to be your last, but this should be your number one focus for 2026. Okay. So, quick recap of where we're at. You got your 90-day number, and you know that we have to be realistic that you'll probably take home 30 to 50% of that. You know what category your skill fits into, and you know you need to develop the problem and solution pair to base your business off of. So how do we supercharge this process with AI? Well, it's just about installing AI money systems into your business. And I'm going to talk about 3 specific ones that you need. But first, what is an AI money system? I want to differentiate between an AI tool and an AI system. So a tool, typically you just use it by typing in something when you remember, right? It might spit back ideas to you, and then you take those ideas and you do something with them. Okay? And it's valuable, but when you have a system, there's a clear trigger that gets you started. So for example, someone might make a purchase from your website. That is a trigger that starts the system. What does the system do? Well, it has a clear workflow, right? It's like a set of instructions to follow. So when someone purchases, for example, maybe it immediately unlocks access for them, follows up to make sure they got in, and then requests a testimonial 4 days later, right? And then the system creates an output, again, without you having to touch it. So in this example, this system might take the testimonial that you got and add it directly to your website. Okay. This is an example of how most people who use AI tools are just doing so to save time, whereas AI money systems are things that create value. Okay, and I'll just show you an example of like this system right here is done by one of our testimonial systems. It's a testimonial workflow. And so if I go over here to this page, you'll see that as I scroll down, there are a ton of testimonials from people who have gone through our programs. Now, I don't ask for these testimonials individually. It's automated, it's in the system. And they don't get added to this website by someone going in and coding it and putting it on the website. It's done automatically. And so that's the difference between a tool and a system. Okay. Does that make sense? Give me some nods if that's pretty straightforward. Okay, cool. So, which systems should you build? You may not have testimonials in your business yet, and that's okay. What we want to do is we want to start with 3 specific types of systems. We need one that helps you get noticed, one that helps you get known, and one that helps you get paid. Okay, get noticed, get known, get paid. Those of you who are inside of our community know that you hear me preach this over and over again, right? I know Lakeith is nodding and laughing, Dr. Colette, because this is so important. This is actually your only job as a business owner. It's your only job is to get noticed, get known, and then get paid. A million videos you can watch and books you can read, and I love doing that as well. But when it comes down to it, you have to get noticed, get known, and get paid. Now, as we go through explaining this, you may find that you're like, man, I don't have any way to get noticed or to get known or to get paid in my business yet. And that's okay. These are the systems that we build. Okay. And we're going to break down exactly what each of them means. Looks like Renata might be having some trouble seeing the screen. Sasha, if you can connect with her, that'd be awesome. Okay. So why is this important? Get noticed is all about the right people need to find you. The right people. Okay. It's not about you going viral or becoming an influencer for like doing TikTok dances. It's about the right people finding you. And then you need to build the know, like, and trust with them so that you can create an offer that is highly profitable and is perfect for them. A lot of times, I think people think about get known as like your audience or your potential customers getting to know you, but it's also about you getting to know them, right? Like you become a better business person when you know and understand the people you're serving really, really deeply. It allows you to serve them better, which is good for you and for them. Okay. So that's the get noticed, get known, get paid process. Okay. Now, most people will start by thinking, what's the best opportunity out there? And not thinking, what is it that I already know and can make valuable? Okay, so we solve that problem by choosing a skill that you already have. That's what we start to base our problem and solution pair off of. You may not know the problem and solution pair yet, but it has to come from a skill that you already have. Okay? But in order for people to be willing to pay you for that problem and solution pair, which you're going to be creating as we move into 2026, they first have to notice you, right, as the person who has that problem and solution pair. And then they have to get to know you to build trust that you can give your problem and solution pair to them. So the way we do this is we build out 9 different AI money systems. Now, as a quick warning, we don't build out all 9 systems immediately. The goal is to build them in the right order. And you'll notice that there's 3 per category. So I have 3 systems here that help you get noticed. They're around content, they're around generating leads and using ads. 3 that help you get known. It's around building trust. I gave you an example of the testimonial system earlier, and then recovering revenue. And then helping you get paid, talk about webinars, talk about non-salesy sales, and we talk about offer stacking. Okay, so as a broad overview, these are the type of systems that can take people to the $20, $50, $100,000 per month mark. But to get started, what are the right ones for you to build? And it's these 3. These are the we build together or start building together the challenge and continue to build over time. The first system is the AI lead generation system. You need leads. You need people to notice you. Okay. The second is what we call a 7-Eleven for trust system. That's about building trust, building that know factor. And then the third is our offer stacking system. Okay. So we're going to walk through what all three of these are and how you can tap into the community to get help building them. So, like I said, these three systems, lead generation gets you noticed, 7-Eleven for gets you known, offer stacking gets you paid, and moving towards that 90-day number. So as an example, my favorite lead generation system is using an AI-powered lead magnet, which helps you capture interested leads and then move them from getting noticed to getting known. So my favorite is an AI-powered quiz. Many of you might have taken this quiz from me. It's called Are You Ready for the AI Gold Rush? Okay. And it's a free quiz. And we talked about the trigger that starts a workflow. It starts with the lead entering their email on the built-in landing page. So that's one thing I like about the quiz is that it comes with a landing page. So you can just get a simple link that you put in your bio, you can put in your YouTube descriptions, you can put in your LinkedIn post, you can send it via DM. But you'll see here that when I send this link or I post it anywhere, it allows someone to put in their name and their email and to get started. Okay, they have now become a lead in your business. And they go through and they answer questions that you've built out. So for example, I ask people, what are they interested in? What type of business model do they have? How often are they using AI tools? Amongst a couple other questions. And then we talked about how important the output is. So each lead will then get a customized AI-powered result that moves them towards the next step in your system. As you see in this example, this lead got an AI readiness score of 3 out of 10. Right? And it categorized their answers based on how they put them in. So not only is this really valuable to the people who are coming into your business because they are now recognizing you as the expert, someone who has the skill and can help them identify the problem and the solution that they need, but it also is valuable for you because not only do they get to know you, like I said, you need to get to know them. So it gives you these AI insights about your audience. So for example, I know that 61% of my audience uses AI tools daily. Right? But I also know that 81% of my audience is completely solo. Right. So it wouldn't make sense for me to make a bunch of content or a bunch of programs to sell around, hey, here's how to build and manage a 10-person team. Right. There would be a mismatch there. And so, like I said, it's important that you get to know your audience as well. And then I also know how much everyone is looking to make from their business to replace their income. So that's kind of the first system, right? If we think about, okay, I need to get noticed, I can use this AI-powered quiz to help set myself up as the person who is known for having this skill, having this problem and solution pair. Okay, drop me a 1 if you guys are still with me, if this makes sense, if using this type of system to help you get leads and have them notice you is helpful. Okay, cool, you guys are still with me. All right, I know it's a little bit late for some of y'all on the East Coast, so I just gotta make sure. Okay, awesome. Then we go to the second system that is most important to build first, which is the 7-Eleven for trust system. And the thing here is that most people jump from getting noticed to getting paid way too soon. And what we find is that, let's imagine you had a $5,000 core offer, right? So you want to make $20,000 per month. You need to sell this core offer 4 times. Well, the conversion rate, the number of people who notice you to successfully going through and straight away buying that $5,000 offer is really low, right? It's like a 0.02% conversion rate. I mean, think about the last time you bought something for any significant amount of money. It probably wasn't just like, oh, found this thing. Someone asked me for $5,000. Cool, pay for it. Like, I don't know anybody who really does that. What allows you to sell stuff and to have people willing to buy from you and raise that conversion rate is the get known. It's the trust that is built in the middle, right? And so if we just think about these numbers, if we're getting straight from get noticed to get paid, it means that if 5,000 new people noticed us, only 1 person would buy our $5,000 offer. That 0.02% conversion rate is really low. If we were able to that to just 1%, right? 5,000 new people, same 5,000 people notice you, but now 5 people buy. So we've 5x'd the revenue in our business with the same amount of leads. So you can see why getting known is so important, because it means that you don't have to do more. You get more out of what you're already doing. Okay, let me say that again. I need to remember that. You need to remember that. Getting known means that you don't have to do more. You get more out of what you're doing. Okay. So how do we get that conversion rate up with this 7-Eleven for trust building system? One way I showed you earlier is through testimonials, right? And that's one of the systems that we can help you set up as you get your business going. But people like to know, hey, is this shit? Like, have you helped other people like me? And did they get a good result? And so getting testimonials is one system. But another one is building up the 7-Eleven for, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So we follow something called Google's 7-Eleven for rule. Give me a 1 in the chat if you have heard of the 7-Eleven for rule. Give me a 2 if you have not heard of the 7-Eleven for rule. 1's in the chat if you have heard of it, 2 in the chat if you have not. Okay, cool. Looks like we've got a little bit of both. What's happening to my chat? You guys slowing down? Okay, there we go. I was about to say, tapping out on me here. Okay, cool. So 7-Eleven for is this idea that the more time and interactions you have with your audience in different locations, the more likely they are to buy from your business, because they know you better and they trust you more. And so it's 7 hours, 11 interactions, 4 locations. But I think about this a little bit differently. It's not like you have to spend 7 hours with someone, have 11 interactions, and see them in 4 locations before they trust you. It's just that as you build those things up, the level of trust gets higher, right? And so there's some people who need just a little bit of trust. So they might spend 30 minutes with you, 1 interaction, 1 location, and they've adequately gotten their trust met. But there are other people who may need more. And so we want to have enough available for everyone. So it's not that you only start making sales once you have that 7-Eleven for. It's that as you go through and build it up, you're making it more likely that more people are actually building trust with you. Okay, so that's how I think about 7-Eleven for. And it's absolutely crucial that you 7-Eleven for the people who notice you, right? So when people come in and they notice you, before you ask them to pay you, you need to give them a chance to build trust and get to know you. It's crucial. Not only does it help you, it helps them. So I built 7-Eleven for without trying to get on the content hamster wheel. Because if you've ever tried to make content, I think somebody mentioned it in the chat earlier, it can take a lot of time and it can be very difficult. So the way that I do it is I put all of my focus into one piece of highly valuable content per week. Okay, just one piece. And usually that's going to be a YouTube video, because I find that I get the most, bang for my buck, so to speak, from making a YouTube video, because it kind of lives on forever in the YouTube search library. But then I use AI to then repurpose that content into various formats, various pieces of it, so that I don't have to then go repeat myself and do all of those things all over again. Okay, so I can take the efforts that I put into that one core piece of content and I can use it to repurpose into short form content. It also becomes emails that will go out into my email list, over time. Can become one long form, either presentation like this or one long form blog post. And it can also become like shorter things like tweets or short posts inside of my community. But it's not that I am taking all of my brain power to make all of these different things. Instead, I'm putting my brain power into one core thing and then using AI from there. Okay. Now, again, this may be the statements that's on our spectrum of it's good to say the easy, quick, lazy thing, because what a lot of people do is they want AI to create that main core thing. But that main core thing is you. That is the value that you bring. And so when people say, like, yeah, just have AI write you 1,000 articles, well, those articles, if AI is just pulling from what it knows, is the exact same article that anyone else can write. And it has no reason for someone to notice you as the person who has expertise that they want to connect with as a human. When I released a video last week that did pretty well, and I was talking about how my business changed when my brother got cancer and we moved down to the cancer ward. Do you know how many messages and emails I got from people saying, hey, that story really stuck with me? Like, I was trying to get time off of work to go be with a family member or to go deal with a health thing, and my boss wouldn't let me. And that's what's inspired my entrepreneurship journey. AI doesn't tell real human stories that people connect with. It can help you take your story and spread it further, but it's you that people want to connect with and want to get value from. And so that's my high horse about using what you have, putting your effort into that, and then using AI to help you spread that. So we talked about get noticed, using that AI powered quiz. We talked about get known. You put your effort in one place, and then AI helps you distribute it and build up that 7-Eleven for that people can interact with. Okay. The third system is offer stacking. Okay. And this is thinking about the same way we can use AI to turn one piece of content into different versions. We can use AI to help us turn one problem solution pair into different versions that get stacked for different people. Okay. I know I threw a lot of difference in words out there. So let me say this again. We have one problem solution pair, but we can create different versions of it for different people and stack them on top of each other. So here's an example of how this can look. One of my newest mentorship students, she was explaining to me that she got a lead for her doula business. So she's a doula, so she helps new moms through their pregnancy and through birth. But this new lead didn't have the budget required. Usually the full doula service to get support throughout your pregnancy, in this case, costs $3,500. But this lead only had $1,800. Okay. And so my student came to me. She was like, I think I've got to turn this lead down because she can't afford the full service. And I'm like, wait, stop. Okay. And we started talking about offer stacking, because while 1,800 may have not been enough for the full package, it was plenty of budget for a piece of the problem solution pair. Okay. So for this doula, for example, a full package comes with multiple meetings throughout your surgery and multiple sessions where you're training for things like lactation and the birthing process and partner support and all of these different things. And I'm like, you don't have to do everything or nothing, right? That's what a lot of people have. So I just have one offer. It's all or nothing. And so we miss out on all the people who might land somewhere in between. Okay. So let me give you a quick example of why this works. If we look over the left side, let's just say this is my problem and solution pair, right? Like this is how I help business owners to grow, scale, get time freedom, financial freedom, location freedom. And all of these little icons are just little things that are part of my problem solution pair, little things that I can do to help people reach that goal. Well, I have multiple offers stacked throughout my business. But again, I'm not putting new brain power into every single thing that I do. I put my brain power once into developing my problem and solution pair. And then my first offer is what I count as just my free content. And it's just one small piece of my problem and solution pair that people can get for free. And then offer two might be something like this program here, this live call, which again is free. You put your email address in to come here, but we're going a little bit deeper than I would in like an 8-minute YouTube video, right? We're now doing an hour. So instead of just one piece of the problem and solution pair, I've added in a little bit more, right? And then the third offer might be something like our business challenge. And that's where, okay, over the course of 3 days, now I can add in more of my problem and solution pair. Again, I am not creating new offers every time and wringing my brain out of all of its energy. I create my problem and solution pair one time, and then I stack different variations of it for different people at different times. And then maybe we get down to offer 4, which is like our one-on-one mentorship program, where we walk through over the course of a year the entire problem and solution pair. Okay. Does that make sense? How it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel every single time. So you can stack the value as people move through your get noticed, get known, get paid process. Okay, cool. And when I tell you this thinking of not having to reinvent the wheel every single time made business so much less stressful and so much less time consuming. And the really good thing about AI is when you do that upfront work to say, okay, this is my problem and solution pair, these are my beliefs and my methods and my skill set, then AI is really good at taking that and repackaging it and reusing it in different ways. And it keeps the original value that you created, but it can do all of that extra work so you don't have to start from scratch every time. Okay. Now, I told you about the story of working with that doula one-on-one. I can't work with everyone individually who's on this call or everyone who is watching live on YouTube. Don't worry, YouTube, I haven't forgotten about you guys. But this is just because my one-on-one time is very limited. That is why I have created what we call a Self-Funded Freedom Challenge. And that's our 3-day challenge where live on Zoom, a small group gets my full attention for 3 nights, and we start to build out these AI money systems in your business. You can get my direct guidance and feedback. I know some of you on the call have already come through the challenge, and you're more than free to put your honest feedback of how it went for you in the chat. But before I walk through how the challenge works, I do want to announce tonight's giveaway winner. So one of you has won a free AI workflow. And tonight's winner is Evan Tate. So I'm not sure that I've seen Evan's name on the call, but we'll give him a little round of applause. You guys are so sweet. And Evan will be sending you an email so we can connect and get that built out for you. Now, if you didn't win, don't be too sad. There's a couple of things that we have for everyone. So for your AB prize selection, we're going to send that to you inside of school, just as a thank you for coming to hang out tonight. And for those of you who joined the challenge tonight before midnight, you're going to be able to send in the AI game plan document. It's the one that's linked inside school that follows through with everything we built out here tonight. You're going to be able to send that to me, as well as any additional questions that you have for a personal review. So I'll send that personal review to you before the challenge even starts. And after the challenge, we'll also do a one-on-one strategy call. The only other one-on-one calls I do are with my mentorship students, like Dr. Colette and Rakitha, and they pay thousands of dollars to be a part of that program. So those 2 bonuses are available for you guys if you decide to join the challenge tonight before midnight, just as a thank you and a consolation prize if you didn't win the giveaway. So that said, the next part of the presentation is for those of you who are interested in learning about the challenge and claiming those bonuses. It's the game plan call review and the post-challenge one-on-one. I've done my best to fulfill on the promise and prediction I made this morning that you now have a 3-step plan to know what you should do in 2026. Going through setting your 90-day number, choosing your skill in your solution pair, and then building out those 3 specific systems that are going to help you get noticed, get known, and get paid. Okay. So if you feel that I've fulfilled on my promise, I will hope that you'll drop a 1 in the chat for me or give me a thumbs up, because I want to make sure that this time has been valuable for you. So if you feel that way, okay, awesome. I'm glad. The next part of the call, like I said, is going to be talking about the challenge. And this is a paid opportunity. It's to get my attention on your business for 2026. And unfortunately, talking about money and paid opportunities does offend some people. So if that's going to offend you, that is not my intention. I'm not going to be teaching anymore. I've given you that 3-step plan. You have the resources. So if that's going to offend you, now's the best time to hop off of the call. But if you do want to hear about the challenge and building out some of those different systems, drop a 1 in the chat for me. Just let me know that you're cool with me explaining how all of that works. Okay, awesome. All right, let's go ahead and dive in then. So inside of the 3-day challenge, you will be joining Challenge Group 7. And there are a couple people who are already inside of Challenge Group 7 as signups recently opened. But the challenge will start on Monday, January 12th at 7 p.m. Now, signups close once all spots are taken. So don't just wait until like, oh, it's on January 12th. Once all spots are taken, signups will close. And the challenge is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, starting at 7 p.m. Central. Okay, so about the same time that this call started tonight, that is when the challenge starts. And the challenge is specifically for coaches, consultants, service providers. If you are already in business, you're making around that $2,000 to $9,000 mark, or you have a skill that you're like, yes, I am willing to work on this and get there quickly, challenge is a good fit for you. If you're overwhelmed by different just AI tools and tips, they're not really moving the needle, and you want to get to that 10K month and beyond, challenge is a good fit for you. Okay. This is Jerome. He came to the challenge. I think he was challenge group 5. He said that he got his value from the challenge on the very first day. And this is Dr. Colette. She's actually here on the call. She runs an in-person nurses aid and CPR business. And she had a great time at the challenge and left a 5-star review. So how does the challenge work? The goal is that by the end of the 3 days, you're going to have your 90-day freedom plan, which is going to include a more specific 90-day number that will calculate specifically for you, as well as how many clients at what specific price your offer should be, so you can hit that number. Then you start building live on the call the first 3 systems. So we talked about that AI-powered lead gen, building out your quiz to help you get noticed. We start building out your 7-Eleven for trust system, and we start helping you to stack your offers. This whole system is what I call self-funded freedom, having that time, location, and financial freedom. But again, it's not about building all 9 systems right away. It's about taking one night to start building one system at a time. And those are the 3 most important ones. So day 1 is what we call self-funded shift. That's where we get to knowing your 90-day number and helping you build that lead generation system. Once we went through the specific 90-day number, this is what Key had to say. She said, when I looked at my numbers, which were her survival number, her 1-year number, and her 5-year number, she said something clicked in a way it never has before. Seeing these numbers didn't overwhelm me. It activated me. It reminded me that if I want what I said I want, it's all gas, no brakes from here on out, because the only person standing in my way is me. I really love that phrase, like all gas, no brakes. Like it's that time of year for that type of thing. Okay. Day 2 is what we call clarity to cash formula. And this is where we get really clear on what your offer should be and how to build know, like, and trust in that 7-Eleven for system. And then day 3 is the client magnet method. How do we attract your next 3 to 5 clients and have that offer stacking system set up so that no matter where they are in the system, you can start getting paid? Okay, I'll play this quick video from Nicole for you guys. Oh, no sound on that one? You guys are just watching Nicole talk. Let me see if I can get that fixed for you real quick. Thanks for letting me know, guys. All right, let's see. Let's see if this works. It may not work because it wants me to restart.
Direction. It's done in less than a week. So kudos to you and all of you left
better?
this call so empowered and so like, I got this. This is totally doable. And it's not only doable in a generic sense, it's doable in exactly the business that I want to do because of X, Y, and Z. So that's really powerful. I feel like the framework and the structure that you create gives that sense of actual direction. It's not just throwing information at you, it's actual direction. It's done in less than a week. So kudos to you and all of your amazingness.
So that was Nicole. She came through, I believe, in challenge group 3, and is now working with us one-on-one as well in her business. So we're going to put a link in the chat, and I'll just throw this one in here, Sasha, to join the challenge. To claim your spot in the challenge, it's $147, and it comes with our better than money back guarantee, which I'll tell you guys about now. So this is what we call a get your money back challenge. And the challenge basically is free because of this get your money back guarantee. If you come to all 3 days of the challenge and you don't love it, Just ask and you'll get a full refund. No questions asked, no drama. If you come to all 3 days of the challenge and you do love it, that $147 becomes a credit towards your next program, either more mentorship or having us help you build out more AI systems. So either way, you don't lose that $147. Also, when you join today, you get those 3 days live on Zoom for the challenge, and you also get 2 bonus self-paced programs that we throw in for free that you can get started with today. So inside of school, you'll see our YouTube Quick Start course. You can see that it is either $97 available for purchase or free when you join the challenge. And it goes through things like how to make money from YouTube, setting up different income streams, how to find an editor and make sure they're actually good. So that's the challenge. And then you get that first bonus, the YouTube Quick Start course. We also have our second bonus, which is the business school mini course. So that's also available for $97 or free when you join the challenge. And I was fortunate enough that I got to go to 2 business schools. I got to go to Stanford Business School and I got to go to Notre Dame Business School. And so what I've done with this mini course is kind of take what are those real pillars that have transferred over from business school to real life business and break them down for you guys so you can go through that pretty quickly. So you've got the challenge, you've got those 2 bonus courses. And then for those of you who already know that you're like listening to this, you're like, yep, I want to do the challenge. There's 2 extra bonuses when you join tonight before midnight. And that's what I was telling you about earlier. The 2026 game plan review. So you get the chance to submit your 2026 plan as well as any other questions. And I'll review that for you and send it back to you before the challenge starts. And then after the challenge, we'll also do a one-on-one strategy call. Cool. So that's everything you get. You get the challenge, get the quick start course, the business school course, the game plan review, the one-on-one call, as well as that win your money back guarantee. And the last thing I'll share, which is probably the most important to me, is why is it called the Self-Funded Freedom Challenge? It's because I believe that if we want to start quickly living our financially free lives, we need to avoid taking on debt. We need to use our current strengths and build an ultra profitable business now, because no one's just going to come and hand us freedom. We have to self-fund it and create it for ourselves. So that's a challenge. I'll put a link in the chat in order to get you going for anyone who wants to join. If you're not sure whether or not the challenge is a good fit for you, you could take this time right now. I'll hang around for about 10 minutes or so. I'll just start this so I have a good idea of where we're at, and answer any questions and let you know if I think what you're working on is going to be a good fit. If you can't make the challenge live, but you do want to work together, I'll put a link to apply for individual mentorship into the chat as well. But if you can start with the challenge, starting there would absolutely be the best fit. Cool. What questions do you guys have? Feel free to raise your hand or come off of mute and let me know what you're working on and if you think this might be a good fit for you. Thank you, Lenice. Thanks for being here. Brenda, yes, you have already completed the challenge. So you've got your next steps for our work together inside of school. Yeah, Lorraine.
Hey Lily, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. So is this a type of work that would be also tailored for B2B offers? Like if I'm working with targeting other businesses, because I see your AI system for content. Typically, if I think that a lot of that touches on a B2C level, but do you have a system, this system that's you're talking about, can it work for B2B offers? And that's the first question. The second one is, after the challenge, what happens next for those participants? Thanks.
Yeah, great question. So B2B, business to business versus business to consumers, absolutely works for both. So about half of the people in the community are B2B, half are B2C, maybe a little bit more B2B. And what we find is that getting noticed, getting known, and getting paid, right, is what every business needs to do. Now, the way you do it might be a little bit different if you're talking to a business owner versus a consumer. But either way, we kind of have a system that you're going to choose that's going to be right for yourself. So hopefully that answers the questions. If you want to tell me a little bit more about the specific business, I'm happy to hear that. And then after the challenge, what happens? So after the challenge, you have that $147 credit. And what most people do is roll that forward and use that to be a part of our paid school community or to work with me one-on-one for further mentorship. Great questions. Kirsten, can't wait to start. Where do you send your Google Doc? So for everyone who joins tonight by midnight, you will get a message inside of school telling you how to share your doc with me as well as any extra questions you have. And then I will get that back to you before the challenge starts. Great question. For those like Lakeitha, Mia, Brenda, Dr. Colette, those of us who are already working together, I've got the things to send you guys coming up tomorrow if you haven't received it already. So keep a lookout. What other questions do we have? Feel free to come off of mute. I answered all the questions so well. Anyone want to share kind of what type of business they're in and see if it's a good fit?
If nobody's gonna share, I can expand a little bit,
Sure.
Lily, since you asked. So I work as an analyst. I've been an analyst for the last 10 years, primarily operations and reporting. So my idea was that I could also be like a fractional analyst for other
Mhm.
businesses that manage case level data.
Mhm.
Typically that involves therapists or like law firms. So is that something that would be suitable for this program? Can I build around that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sounds like a great skill, right? To build your problem and solution pair around. I've worked with a few people who do business like analysis and like fractional services. So I definitely feel comfortable saying it will be a good fit for you. And then also knowing that you have your money back guarantee if you feel like it wasn't applicable. Yeah, great question.
All right, thank you. See you inside then.
All right,
Thanks.
I'll see you then. Okay, Pam, what happens after the challenge? So similar to what Lorraine asked, after the challenge, you have your challenge credits. You have the $147 you paid for the challenge, and you get the chance to apply that towards being a paid member of our community to get ongoing support from myself, feedback on your offer, on your landing page, Lakeitha, on your lead magnet, that type of thing. And you can also apply one-on-one mentorship with myself to use that credit towards. I don't accept everyone into one-on-one mentorship. So the challenge is the best place to start, and then we can continue support after that. Each night of the challenge is 1 hour and 15 minutes to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Typically, what happens, Jamie, is I will teach for a little bit. Then you will start to build out your different systems with my help and guidance. And then we'll have some Q&A time. So for about an hour is where we'll be actively working on stuff. And then what I find and what most people find really valuable is the entire group gets a Q&A, which we call the hot seat. So you get to ask in-depth questions about your business, but you also get to hear my answers to other people's questions. And that can be really helpful. Lakeitha says it is worth it. I'm so glad to hear that, Lakeitha. You were what group were you in? Were you in group 6? I think you might have been group 6. Okay, awesome. So yeah, Jamie, hope that answered your question. Feel free to follow up if there's any others. Um, how much is our paid community? Our paid community is $147 per month. And so if you join the challenge, you get your first month of the community for free. You can use that to roll towards it. Okay, awesome. Jamie's signing up now. I think we've got Lorraine in, Kirsten's in. So like I said, the challenge starts on January 12th. Just remember, once those spots are full, we'll shut it down. Lakeitha says you'll have a clear picture of what you need to do in your business to have it set up correctly. Awesome. What other questions do we have? Anyone want to share what their business is or what they're working on and see if it might be a good fit? Hey Mia, if you've got a question about thumbnails and AI, yeah, just post it in the school community. And you'll get an answer tomorrow. Thank you. Any other questions about whether or not the challenge might be a good fit? Yeah, Renata, do you want to come off of mute and share? Renata, I think you said you'll post it in the school community. Uh-oh. Okay, cool. Thanks, Lorraine. Appreciate you joining us. Can you guys still hear me okay? Okay, awesome. No other questions? Awesome. I will see you guys inside of challenge group 7. If you already inside the community, post your questions and look out for some responses coming up tomorrow. Thanks, Jamie. See you inside. Kirsten, see you inside. And hope to see the rest of you very soon. Have a good night, guys.